right, welcome back to another episode of Chatting Cinema. I'm Gianni.
I'm Flynn.
And I'm Luke.
And today we are talking about just some movies that we've seen recently, things we think people should see. We'll start it off. We've all been on Letterboxd.
Yes,
leaving
follow
our
us on
reviews.
Letterboxd. I'm at Luke Miller.
I'm at Flynn Altamar.
And I'm at Gianni Fiore.
We all have our names.
Yeah.
I never get mine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Exciting.
So I guess I'll start off with Ad Astra. I just saw that recently. It came out in the fall of 2019, and I feel like no one saw it.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to, but I didn't.
yeah, but I mean, it's really good. Like Brad Pitt, he's really good in it. Obviously, he received a lot of recognition for his performance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I think that kind of cannibalized the viewership of Ad Astra. But it's definitely not for everyone. It's a slow burn, but it's really beautifully shot. It's a space movie, obviously. Super good though. There's a lot of narration, but like Brad Pitt sells it. Brad Pitt's really good. I saw Birds of Prey. We all saw that.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
And Birds of Prey is great. I think it was kind of a surprise. Like it was
I
on track.
Certainly surprised. I wasn't excited for it.
Yeah.
Like I love the characters, but
Uh-huh.
I was just the trailers weren't doing it for me. I'm just like, this doesn't look that good. But
Yeah.
I was so surprised in the theater.
Yeah, I think it was on track to be pretty good from
Yeah.
like especially those camera shots they did, which I love that Warner Brothers is doing that for all their movies now, like those camera tests. I think it was on track to be pretty good. And then of course when it came out, like I really liked it.
Yeah. I think Kathy Ann did a great job. It's my favorite DC movie post Nolan. I think it's so good. I think it's just like a lightning bolt of fun, and I think that a lot of people weren't excited by it, like for it, because the trailers were kind of similar to the trailers in Suicide Squad, and Suicide Squad was a bad movie. But I think the trailers for Suicide Squad were good.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people
They really were.
I think that's what people were nervous about. It was like, okay, the movie that Suicide Squad was selling in the trailers was not the movie that we got. But Birds of Prey is that movie. Like the colorful, bright, energetic, like nonstop action. There's so many good moments. Like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I'm so thankful that she got like this opportunity to showcase that, because a lot of people will say about Suicide Squad, like the one qualifier is, oh, I really like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn and maybe Will Smith as Deadshot.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Suicide Squad is bad, so you don't want to watch it and revisit that performance because it's like
The rest is bad.
I have to watch Suicide Squad to watch this.
I have to
like
watch Jared Leto again.
Watch a compilation on YouTube or something. But even then, it's like it's not a well-written movie. So
Right.
the performance shines through because Margot Robbie's phenomenal. Like there's no better choice for Harley Quinn. She's perfect casting.
I think that movie in general, the casting was amazing.
Yeah.
Like Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yes.
Amazing. And I don't know the names of the other actresses, but they really did a wonderful
Journey
job.
Smollett Bell as Black Canary, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, how about Ewan McGregor as Black
Oh
Mask?
man.
Speaking of casting,
So much fun.
It's like anytime he's in a movie, I'm gonna see it.
Yeah.
That man is amazing. It could be the worst movie ever, but
I
it's
still haven't seen Dr. Sleep.
oh, I did. It was actually really good.
Yeah.
It actually was. It felt like a Kubrick movie, but not like we want to be a Kubrick movie,
Right.
you know, like copycatting it.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to Birds of Prey. I really thought his character was such a great foil to Harley Quinn, especially that first scene where they see each other. And like this isn't a spoiler, 'cause it's like the second scene of the movie, but she's under Joker's protection, and he literally says it. He's like, "Oh, if she wasn't, man." And then just the rest of the movie is like him going after her because of that.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
Yeah, every scene he is in, he is just like chewing scenery, just straight up having the time of his life.
Yeah, literally. Like, it looked like he had fun with the role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really shines through.
Yeah, and I think there's so much talk still about the oversaturation of comic book movies, but Birds of Prey just feels so fresh to me. Like, the action direction is completely brand new and frenetic, and they're so creative throughout the whole movie. Like,
and ironically, this is the one nobody will see.
Yeah.
Like, it's like we all think it's such a breath of fresh air, and it's great, and it's refreshing, and it's new. But people are like, nah, go see Sonic instead. Don't be a social justice warrior.
Right. Yeah, it's tough.
I think having Kathy Ann in there was huge.
Yeah.
I think that she really like stewarded it in the right direction.
Yeah.
Fun fact: if you go on her Twitter, she's not verified.
I
she
know
should be.
She's not verified.
But
Crazy.
somebody tweeted out some like pictures from Birds of Prey's like filming and like press and stuff,
Mm.
and they're modeled after famous pieces of art.
Yes.
And
yeah,
Kathy
yeah, I saw
Yang
that.
"Goes, I'm an art geek, like
Yeah.
living my best life
Art
right now."
history nerd.
Yeah,
Kathy
like I
Yang.
forget because I took those classes in college. I'm like, I love this.
Yeah.
Like this is great. Like it was like them sitting like all in black suits and stuff, and it was like the Last Supper, but with the
Yeah.
cast of Birds of Prey.
Very
Like
cool.
it is very cool. Like
Mhm.
there's so much attention to detail in this movie that it's a shame people won't see it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like an adherence to the comics and like adapting certain parts of certain characters, like you get roller derby Harley, and you get sort of like a Killing Joke costume on Harley, in the one scene, which is like the best set piece in the movie in my opinion. I love that scene. I'm not gonna spoil it, but the scene where she's wearing that in the trailer, like go see Birds of Prey. I know you probably haven't because of the amount of money it's made.
Just please go see it. It's really worth it.
Yeah, it's I really really loved it.
And also for all the people complaining superhero movies are the same thing, this is the one that's doing it different. You know?
Yeah, that's what you can't complain like, oh, I want new superhero movies and then not give new superhero movies a chance. Like,
Yeah.
you lost your right to complain.
Boom.
Yeah.
Flynn said
Speaking
it.
of a few minutes ago when you said Sonic, I think I'm the only person at this table who has
Wanna
seen
go
it.
see Sonic later?
Go see Sonic.
But I loved it. I think it was really good. And it's not perfect. It's definitely aimed and geared towards kids,
Yeah.
but
Which is fine.
It totally,
I
absolutely.
I think that people forget that. I think that people
Yeah.
feel like ownership of certain characters and are like, oh
Yeah.
man, this kids movie was really for kids.
No, yeah, but
It's
I
like,
was
all right, well, if kids are
Grr.
liking it, then it worked.
yeah. And I was gonna say there's a lot of stuff in there that is still for adults.
Yeah.
So and I think it's super cool how they really went back and they took the fans' comments into consideration and Sonic looks great.
Yeah.
You know, so Jim Carrey also real blast from the past with his performance. I feel like we're back in the '90s, and I feel like
Yeah.
everyone is saying that, but it's true. Like he hasn't really changed over the years.
You're right.
He's still Jim Carrey, so that was cool to see too.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that because I feel like Sonic and
Yeah.
like Jim Carrey's Robotnik are like they looked really great.
Yeah.
But then like the James Marsden bits looked like the ones where like
Well,
so
I was gonna say I really liked the human characters in the
Really?
movie. I think James Marsden had a really cool dynamic with Ben Schwartz, who voices
Right.
Sonic, and
Love Ben Schwartz.
I honestly I know it's getting a lot of comparison to Detective Pikachu, and I think it's better than Detective Pikachu. I think they
Ooh.
incorporated the human characters into the story better than they did in Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's interesting because I saw
It's a bold
I
strategy.
can't
Cotton.
speak to it because I haven't
Yeah.
seen it, but I saw like a pitch to have a sequel, which is probably coming because it's doing fairly well financially, which is
Sure.
cool because I'd like to see more video game movies.
yeah,
And I saw a pitch that for the sequel to have it mostly CG
right.
with Sonic and his friends, and then have Jim Carrey as Robotnik be the only live action character.
Oh yeah.
So I'm wondering if you think, having seen it, like, would that work, or would you prefer like still on Earth with human characters?
This might be like a minor spoiler,
Mhm.
but I don't know how they can get away from Earth.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think though, because the only other thing I would say is that I do wish we got to see more of Sonic's home planet,
Yeah.
because it's again minor spoiler, but you're not on it very long,
Yeah.
like before he gets to Earth. So I don't know, but I mean we'll see.
I hope they take.
I
it
do
in
think the
direction of
sequel's on the
Sonic
way though, for
Underground.
sure,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see it.
See
'Cause-
Sonic's buddies.
yeah.
No,
Big the Cat solo movie.
no, I want Sonic Underground cinematic universe.
Big the Cat solo movie. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Because then they can make music and make more money.
Yeah. But I like Sonic.
Yeah.
My pitch for a video game movie is Punch Out, because I think it's the easiest video game movie to make in the world. You just make Rocky with Punch Out characters. There you go, $500 million.
Who would you
Legend is-
cast?
Take it. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't.
There's
Dude,
so many
just cast
people.
every single
As Little Mac.
MMA, UFC, WWE.
I would cast Timothy Chalamet as Glass Joe.
Who would you cast as Doc?
Willem
Terry
Dafoe.
Crews.
I think I would go Samuel Jackson.
Ooh.
Samuel Jackson's a good
Yeah.
choice. Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker? Oh, he'd be funny. Yeah, he'd be great.
Forrest Whitaker, but he has to wear the Saw Gerrera costume and talk like Saw Gerrera.
All right, I don't want that anymore. I've had enough of Saw Gerrera.
All right, I changed my mind. It's just a Saw Gerrera movie.
I saw a documentary on Netflix, Miss Americana, Taylor Swift's documentary. I thought it was really good, really entertaining, heartbreaking at times to kind of see the struggles that she's been through. I think we kind of forget sometimes what happened to her career kind of post Kanye West at the MTV Movie Awards. And
Gianni, I'm gonna let you finish.
Uh-huh.
That was just me being Kanye. You
That's
can
just
keep
me
going.
being-
Oh, thanks.
Me being Kanye.
But really interesting to see how she's also kind of had to rebrand herself over the years, and that's something that a lot of female artists in the industry have to do, unfortunately, whereas male artists rarely ever do. And I thought that was all really interesting to see and really well conveyed and super well directed. I'm always like fascinated by how documentaries are made because I'm like, where do you even start? You know?
It's like a gigantic, like 10,000 piece puzzle.
Yeah, and it's just really cool how they pulled it together. But definitely watch it on Netflix. Worth a watch.
Yeah. I've been post Oscars on a Bong JoonHo kick, and a cool thing for anybody like interested post Oscars is that his work is actually relatively easy to find. So Netflix has Snowpiercer and Okja, a streaming service called Tubi, which if you haven't heard of it, I hadn't either. I was just looking for somewhere to watch The Host, and Tubi has a ton of Korean cinema if you're interested in getting in that. Like Old Boy is there, Train to Busan is there. The Train to Busan is also on Netflix now. But so Tubi has The Host, Mother, and Barking Dogs Never Bite, and you can find Memories of Murder on YouTube, which is really cool to have like those. So obviously, you know, Netflix is a paid subscription that a lot of people have, but still. But if you watch the Oscars and you're like, oh man, I want to watch this guy's work and support him in sort of an official way, but I don't have the money to do so, which a lot of people don't. That to have these on YouTube and Tubi, a free streaming service, is awesome. And the ads are kept to a minimum. It's cool. And Bong JoonHo is fantastic. So, you know, if you were having trouble with the subtitles in Parasite and that was keeping you away, grow up. But less, you know, watch Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer is almost entirely in English, and if you like that, you might want to explore his movies a little bit more. And then if you watch Okja, it's sort of half in Korean and half in English, so you can sort of have like a slow progression into, because that, like, if you watch Parasite and enjoy it, you know, like, you can watch foreign films and enjoy them, and you're sort of opening up. I'm so thankful for Parasite for that reason, because it's sort of opening up this world of unexplored cinema for a lot of people.
There's movies outside of the United States, everybody.
It's crazy.
I was going to say about Okja, because I just watched it. It feels like a comic book movie in like all the best ways.
Yes.
It really feels like a superhero kind of story.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Okja's so good.
And it's such a contrast, because I've only seen Okja and Parasite, Bong JoonHo's, films, and they're so different from one another. So he's just so creative. Like I can't believe his imagination.
Bong amazes me in the way he like uses genre as a jump rope. It like his movies on paper shouldn't work. Like you shouldn't be able to have like all the like tons of moments of levity and like funny moments in Parasite and still work as a dark thriller, but it all does, and I think that speaks to like life. Life is not one flat emotion, life isn't one genre, and I think that's something that Bong JoonHo really understands and puts in there. And I think he has a way of doing social commentary that's really good, that's really organic. And Memories of Murder, it kind of feels like if you like David Fincher and you like Gone Girl or Seven or Zodiac, like you'll like Memories of Murder. It's a crime thriller, a true story. It's fantastic. And again, there are moments of levity, there are funny moments, there are like super dark moments. And so I've been watching a lot of Bong JoonHo recently, and a lot of his movies are easy to find, so go out and find them.
I've been on a real big A24 kick. I'm wearing my A24 shirt. Shameless plug for the merch, not sponsored. But I've just been
But
watching.
if you're interested, A24.
Oh,
We-
produce one of my movies.
Yeah, we all
I don't
love
have
you.
any written. I also have no prior experience, but make my movies. I love you. So the A24 movies I've been watching recently, I'll just rattle them off. Slice, which was
With Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, Chance the Rapper. That's why I watched it.
And
I saw
Zazie
Chance
Beetz.
And Zazie Beetz, which I watched that last night. Pretty fresh, pretty dope. Liked it a lot.
Dozer.
Hot Summer Nights with Timmy.
Timmy.
Low Tide, which had I always forget his name, but he was the kid with the stutter in it.
It's
Jalen something.
yeah. Jaden Martell.
Jaden Martell. Yeah, he was dope. Then I
He's
watched.
in Knives Out too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I watched Midsommar. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about Midsommar.
That's a movie.
Let me just the rest first, then we'll go back to that.
Because I haven't seen a lot of these movies yet.
Okay.
So,
Then I watched The Farewell.
which is now streaming on Amazon.
Yes,
have
that's how I
to
watched
have
it.
to get that. That's the #1 movie from last year that I really wanted to watch that I haven't gotten to see yet.
I've watched a couple other random ones too. Like I watched Honey Boy, which is also
Mhm.
streaming on Amazon. I watched 4D Ferrari based off of this guy's
Good movie.
recommendation.
Good movie.
I watched The Big Sick on Amazon, which was really great. And,
if you haven't seen The Big Sick, go see The Big Sick.
Yeah.
It's
Super
man.
good.
yeah, my diary's busy right now.
Yeah,
But Midsommar.
yeah, that's a movie from last year. That's fantastic.
That's the scariest movie theater experience of my life.
Oh, man, I
It's
didn't
the
see a
scariest
movie
I've been
theater
sitting in my
this-
own house
It's
watching
so
a movie
uncomfortable.
experience. I felt terrified.
I was in a full theater, and in most horror movies that I've been to in a theater, like I think back to Get Out,
Mhm.
or even like the really bad horror movies like Annabelle and those kind of films.
Annabelle Byrne.
I've always had loud audiences, you know,
Right.
people who are like screaming or they're like, "Oh no!" Like
Yeah.
you know, I've had those people. But watching Midsommar, there are some horrific images in that film,
Yeah.
and people stayed completely silent.
Well, because how else are
Yeah.
you gonna react to this?
I
It's
know.
It's not like a jump scare horror movie. It's literally like some of the most unsettling things I've ever
Yeah.
seen. So you should watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll be a movie I watch once,
Yeah.
maybe one more time in my life.
It's a lot for me. Like I don't know if I could ever revisit it.
Exactly.
You know, and
exactly.
I think that's where I'm so conflicted. I'm like, did I like this movie? You know, like
But I think that's the point.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We're like, I'm thinking about it again. I'm getting freaked
Yeah.
out. Like I
Yeah.
watched it at like 2 a.m. Bad idea.
Yeah, connect back to Bong JoonHo. He just published a list of 20 directors that he feels are vital for the success of film in the future, and Ari Aster was one of them. And he's a weirdo. Like he does some weird stuff, and I like it.
Yeah.
I'm into it because Hereditary is the same way. That same level of like subversive weird horror that I think is necessary, because I think for a long time the horror genre had kind of like the Sauls and the Hostels and kind of like
Then all the found footage and the
Yeah.
and horror. I'll save this for another day, like another horror movie, like a full episode on that, because I have some thoughts. But I'm really glad that horror is being taken seriously now by film studios and directors, and kind of get like fresh, unique movies like Midsommar, because I mean the entire movie is right there in the beginning with the tapestry.
Yeah.
They give you the whole movie, and Florence Pugh is so good
She
in that
is.
movie.
She had the best year.
She really sells it as Danny. She's so like relatable and real and
Yeah.
authentic, and I think that's what makes the movie all the more upsetting, is like you probably know somebody like Danny,
Yeah.
who kind of like has had a real rough go of it, and has to sort of deal with things, and so just like really genuine like characters,
Yeah.
I think really work to the favor of Midsommar.
Ow.
Yeah, and I mean Ari Aster as a writer and director,
Yeah.
I think is so talented, because Midsommar is a perfect example of like really heartbreaking opening.
Yeah.
And it feels like a drama at first, and then and then it can get to be really funny at times.
Yeah.
And then things just get completely turned upside down, and that's when I really like kind of lost it. Like,
Right.
I was so uncomfortable.
Really brutal, realistic, like horror and
Yeah.
gore.
Yeah.
Because I think that, again, with horror, but with action and thrillers and stuff, there tends to be, to make it easier to digest, a very like stylized approach to horror and gore and stuff like that, like slow motion, clever camera cuts, so you're not seeing, and
They don't hide anything.
yeah,
No.
this is something that I felt in Midsommar that I think is most effectively achieved in Zodiac. There's a scene in Zodiac with a murder that is filmed straight on, just stabbing, and it is incredibly unsettling because you're not used to watching horror like that,
You're
like
used to
real,
that cut,
genuine,
you know?
like yes, like this is what it would look like if you were just there in the park watching this. And I think that Midsommar does that
Yeah.
a couple times, and that's what, like, that's a get under your skin, like Ari Aster knows exactly what he's doing, and he's doing it on purpose to mess with you.
And what throws me off so much too is it's so beautifully shot. Like the
Oh, yeah.
visuals
It's a
are
gorgeous movie.
amazing.
Yeah.
The set they chose, like it was Sweden.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
like-
believe so.
Beautiful. It
Yeah.
looked beautiful, but then what happened was not beautiful. And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
like I want to think about those shots and those visuals, and then I remember all the
Makes-
unsettling things that happened.
Makes
I'm
Right.
like, this is bad. This is bad. But to give some shout outs to those lesser known A24 movies, Low
Yeah.
Tide was actually filmed in Point Pleasant Beach and Seaside. Did not know that. That's like an hour from here about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super cool. It's a very low key movie. I saw somebody say it was like Grown Up Goonies in a way. Like not
That's the best way you could sell it to me.
yeah, exactly. But basically, the gist is that some local teens are robbing houses of bennies because they're like, you come on vacation in our place, you're rich, whatever, we
Right.
don't like you. Then they find something that basically divides the group.
Okay.
And that's as much as I'll say. But that movie is very simple, very well done. And if you're from New Jersey, you'd appreciate it so much for the way they talk, what they do with each other. Like, like it's very New Jersey and it's very fun. Slice is like just a wacky B horror movie, but just really well made.
Right.
It's not a B horror movie in the sense that it's like crappy.
Yeah.
Like it's-
intentional.
Yeah, no, it's very well done. The acting is very good. The only thing that got me was that, like Chance the Rapper's character is like a werewolf.
Yeah.
And then, like,
yeah.
there's ghosts in the town and there's
Okay.
witches, but they don't explain it. They just say it as if you know. I got it after, like, a half hour of, like, okay, like, I guess these are just things in this world. But it was never, like, really established, like, how it works. And that kind of got me. But it wasn't that big of a deal in the end.
Yeah.
Like, I really still liked it a lot.
Yeah.
What else did I watch? I'm already forgetting. It's just, like, oh, my... I can't stop thinking about Midsommar. It's like, visuals. Like, it's freaking me out still.
I'll talk about Zombieland Double Tap, which I
Ooh.
didn't get to see in theaters, and I really meant to, but I just, it kind of
You haven't
flew
seen
by
it
the
yet, right?
wayside.
Neither have I, so...
It's super good. I was
Yeah.
really surprised with it. It's hard to make a sequel, especially like 10 years later,
Yeah.
and still have people care about it. And unfortunately, I think people didn't really get out to see it.
I wanted to.
when it was in theaters. Yeah,
I just,
I'm guilty of it.
October?
Yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I didn't get to see it, but I'm glad I watched it at home when I did because I think it's super good. Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone,
the
and
fact that
Abigail
all
Breslin.
four
Yeah.
actors came back,
Yeah.
and they all have been kind of busy since
They
the
have.
first one.
Well, that was the coolest thing is seeing them all back together after they've all gone on such separate career paths and diverse career paths. And now they're back in this together, and it's like nothing's changed, you know?
Well, it's funny because
Yeah.
Zombieland, the first one, came out in 2009, and the next year Jesse Eisenberg did The Social Network,
Yeah.
and then it's like here we are years later. Like he's been in other great movies too, and like
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson's been in a bunch of great stuff. Emma Stone, I think Emma Stone's had the best career
Yeah.
post
Well,
the
she
first Zombieland as
yeah.
well.
Well, she had the top billing for the cast. It was and Emma Stone at the end, so that was super cool to see, you know. But yeah, just super fun. Like, and they didn't really change a whole lot amongst the characters. You know, obviously the script has probably been sitting on a shelf because you can tell some of the lines are like,
Gotcha.
yeah, this probably came out
Yeah.
or could have come out at least 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's still really cool. Like I enjoyed it. So
Yeah, that's interesting to hear because, like, so often now we're seeing, like, a lot of people refer to them as legacy sequels.
yeah.
So just, like, not reboots, but sequels set in the future. Like, you have, like, Creed, right? So it's interesting to hear that, like, this probably wasn't planned as a legacy sequel. Like, it wasn't like, oh, let's revisit it, where it was probably the sequel that, like, didn't get made, and then finally they're like, oh, people are making sequels for stuff that came out a while ago. Maybe and it didn't work financially, but
Yeah. But still, go see it.
Yeah.
Or see it at home now because it's on streaming and Blu-ray and everything. So Yeah. Does that wrap it up for us?
I think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, just follow us on Letterboxd. You'll see what we're watching every day.
Midsommar, if you want to watch it, that's also on Amazon Prime.
It
No.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
All of A24's are. I think Uncut Gem's going to be on there somewhat soon, which I have not seen that yet, so I need to.
That's out on digital. Came out yesterday. February 25th at the time of recording. So
So then maybe that means it'll be on Amazon Prime soon, because they might give it a couple weeks. But
Yeah.
because Farewell came out on digital a little bit ago.
yeah.
Uncut Gems is on Netflix everywhere but the U.S. So
Yeah.
if you're not in the U.S. listening to this, you can watch Uncut Gems
If you're
on Netflix
listening
now.
in Canada, please send me your Netflix login.
Or you can get a VPN.
It's true.
We're not sponsored by any
Yeah.
VPNs yet, but maybe one day.
sponsor, please.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You have some nice movie recommendations there. I'm Gianni.
I'm Flynn.
And I'm Luke.
We'll see you next time.